Beast OCR proudly presents BeastNet podcast, sponsored in part by GH Under's Performance Base Layers and supported by the OCR community. Here we discuss all things OCR related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Grays Harbor Unders makes the performance-based layer clothing you want and need, whether you work, hunt, hike, fish, run, or ride in the great outdoors. If you work up a sweat, Grays Harbor Unders are for you because their unique dual-layer fabric removes moisture from your body and keeps your skin dry, even when the outer layer is completely wet. It's a base layer like no other. Get you some at ghunders.com. That's ghunders.com for the best performance-based layer you'll ever wear.
Hey everybody, it's Mike with BeastNet here, and on this week's episode, I've got Christina Horton. Dada.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. I figure I've got like 2 more days to live because I'm running a marathon on Sunday because I'm dumb.
Well, you know what? That's great because I know somebody else that's running that marathon that hasn't trained in like 2 years.
But the thing is, though, is that it might be a different marathon. There's 2 different marathons on Sunday. So
is it the rock and roll?
There's the rock and roll. I'm not doing the rock and roll. I'm doing the tunnel.
Oh, yeah, you're going to die.
Yeah, I'm doing the tunnel marathon, which is up on the mountain. So.
But you know what? That way you're just that much closer to nature for your body to decompose. I mean, right?
And see,
why
that's
not?
what I figure.
You're happier outside.
Yeah, so and I'm going to be right there in nature when I die. So, yeah, it'll be awesome.
I think that sounds lovely. You know, if you're going to die somewhere that makes you happy, right?
Exactly. And I mean, everyone's always like, everyone keeps telling me it's a downhill trail. And I'm like, I have bad knees. Downhill's probably worse. But everything I've read is supposed to be, it's a very gradual downhill. It's not supposed to be a steep one, so it should be good. So
it's kind of like the Iron Horse half marathon I did a couple of years ago, where it's pretty gradual. It's the rails to trails stuff, right?
Yeah, you start off on Snoqualmie Pass. You go through what used to be it was like the Iron Horse John Wayne Trail. They've changed or they are changing the name. They're in the process of changing it to the Palouse Coast Trail or something. They're changing the name, but yeah, it starts off up at Snoqualmie Pass, and you come down through the tunnel and then down into North Bend. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I did the half of that a couple of years ago when it was the Iron Horse, and it is super gradual downhill, and it is really pretty. Don't forget your music though, because it is quiet out there and it's boring.
Yeah. Well, it'll be me and Don.
My music. Oh,
it'll be
fun.
me and Don. It'll be the 2 of us. So it's one of those ones. And he kind of got me on this one because it was one of those, we were talking about it in like January. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I'll sign up next week. And then all of a sudden, like an hour later, I get an email that says, thank you for signing up for the Tunnel Marathon. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And so I called him and he's like, well, they were about to sell out. So I just bought it.
Oh, that's harsh.
I'm like, thanks.
You're stuck. You can't get out of it now.
Yeah. Well, see, and that was the thing. I owe him because he did when I did the Seattle Marathon in 2017, he was with me. And I told him if he ever decided he wanted to do a marathon, I would be with him. I would go with him as support since he was there for me.
Did you promise that at the end of a marathon or while you were drunk?
No, we were actually in the middle of the marathon during this part. So, yeah.
Complete insanity. Fair.
Yeah, see, and I didn't ask him to go with me. It was one of those things he just all of a sudden because it was going to be like me and Emily.
Yeah.
At that point, I wasn't even sure if she was going to be there. And I'm like, whatever, I'm doing it. I don't care if anyone shows up or whatever. And all of a sudden, like a week before it was happening, he's like, oh, by the way, I signed up. I'm going with you. And I'm like, okay. So it's like, yeah, if you ever decide to do one, I'll do it with you. So this was the one I was supposed to do with him. But then all of a sudden, somehow I'm signed up for the Seattle Marathon this year, too. So he's a dick.
Wait, he signed you up for both of them?
Yeah. I'm doing a Tunnel Marathon.
Insurance policy?
He should. I think so. I mean, we've known each other since preschool. So, I mean, he's trying to kill me, I'm pretty sure.
I'm kind of thinking he might have some kind of serious life insurance policy out on you.
He must because, he's trying to kill me. Well, apparently because he volunteered with him and his daughter volunteered at the last Seattle Marathon in 2018 and got free races. Well, his daughter's like, I ain't doing it. So he ended up with 2 free races. So he's like, well, I guess you're doing it with me. And I'm like, oh, great. I get to do that one again. That one I hated.
Well, that one was
cold,
30-something degrees and pouring down rain for most of it. Yeah, that was
this year,
balls. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's December 1st this year, which is like the day before my birthday. So my birthday weekend, I get to go do a marathon.
Yay. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, it was last time, too. It was your birthday weekend.
Yeah. So it's going to be like 30 degrees out. It's cold. It's wet. I guess they've changed the course, so it's not as bad. But last time it was like you started with a lot of uphill, like up and downhill within the first 4 or 5 miles. And then it flattened out.
No, they changed it. Last year it was so much better. Last year I actually had a friend that did it, and I was like, oh, my God, that course was awful. She was like, no, it was really easy. I actually was surprised there was no hills.
Okay, because, last year, that year I did it. It was like the first 4 or 5 miles was up and downhill. And then you had flat for like 18 miles, and then it ended with the last 3 or 4 miles up and downhill. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've already done 20-something miles. Now you want to put me on more hills? I hate you people.
Sounds like Monterey this last weekend.
I
First
know,
mile and a half was straight uphill. Straight uphill.
See, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm trying to get myself back into shape. I mean, I've been, like, this last week, I think I've made sure every morning I've left the house with a, like, half gallon of water and made sure that it's gone, and I at least try and fill it back up once. I pee a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. So,
well, and the thing is, like, once your kidneys get used to it, then you don't pee as much. But, like, good for you.
Yeah.
The first week, though, you're like, might as well just wear it depends for all you care.
Well, it was one of those things I decided to really start this week because, one, obviously the marathon's this weekend, but two, I was in class all week. So
oh my gosh.
I could get up and pee. I wasn't out driving. I wasn't doing normally I'm driving. So it's kind of like, finding a bathroom. Sometimes, you just sit in a parking lot hoping someone doesn't turn their head and see what you're doing. But
dude, you're a boy. The world is your urinal.
Yeah. So, I was in class. So I'm like, I can stop, and go to the bathroom anytime I want. But it was horrible though, because I had to do a presentation. So I'm up there and and it was on flagging. I can now teach people how to flag in Washington State, actually for the whole nation. But yeah.
While doing a potty dance.
Pretty much. So I'm up there doing the presentation, and I'm sitting there like, I've got to pee, trying to do this presentation. And like as soon as I finish, I'm like, okay, I got to go to the bathroom. He's like, that's what that little dance was. I'm like, yeah. I had to pee for the whole like 20 minutes of that 30-minute presentation. So
totally done that. When I would teach people, I'm like, so we're going to break at 10 o'clock. And somebody starts asking me a question. I was like, okay, you can ask me that question, but you're going to follow me into the bathroom to do it because otherwise this is not a conversation we're having. They're like, no, I'll ask you later. I was like, good idea.
Yeah.
Now move.
Yeah. And so that's normally when I'm teaching, it's easy because then I can be like, hey, I'm taking a break. I'm going to go use the restroom. I need to use the restroom. But this time I was one of the students, so it wasn't as easy for me to just be like, hey, I got to pee. So yeah. I don't like being the student anymore. I like being the instructor.
Sometimes being a student is interesting because you sit there and you're like, oh, that's a good idea. Ooh, that sucks. Don't do that. But it depends on how good the instructor is.
This guy was a good instructor, but it's a subject he's been teaching on for 30-something years. So, but it's one of those things. It was flagging. You stand there with a paddle and tell people cars when to go. It's not that difficult.
I was about to say that sounds torturously boring.
Yeah, and it was 3 days of learning how to teach that class. So like I said, now I can teach it like for the entire nation. Yeah.
3 days to learn how to teach, turn it this way, turn it that way.
And there's more to it than that. You have to set up the cone, set up the workspace, everything else. So there's a lot more than just being the guy.
Okay.
So there's a lot more than just holding the paddle. But we had like one lady in there that like all three. There was 5 of us in the class, and the other 4 of us were all looking at the instructor, going, "You better not pass this woman."
Oh my God, was she that dumb?
Oh, it was bad. It's like, if you pass this woman, I need to know what her name is, because if I ever see her name on someone's card, they can't flag for me.
No.
Oh, it was bad. But,
I've had that person. I had the person that couldn't figure out how to type in a class where everything was on the computer. He typed with 2 fingers. He looked like a velociraptor where he had his fingers curled and he held them up by his shoulder, and he would like find the letter and then plunk it and then bring his hand back up to his shoulder. He looked like a velociraptor. It was hilarious. He didn't know how to use a mouse.
I'm so picturing my dad right now.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. I'm sorry, he was a nice guy, but dude, he couldn't type. And he couldn't look at the screen while he was typing. And so he'd realize he made a spelling error and he'd delete the entire word. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Yeah. You're like, on Word, you can just right click it and just it changes the word for you. But
we didn't have spell check in this program. It was in the medical program. And I don't think he knew what right click was, because I asked him to right click something. And he said, I am right clicking. I'm using my right hand. Like, no, right click means use your middle finger. So he reached over with his middle finger and clicked the left button. I was like, ooh, you got a problem.
That's always good.
I was like, oh, you didn't, have you ever used a computer before? Oh, no, my husband doesn't let me use the computer at home because he's afraid I'm going to break it. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I see why.
Okay, so we're going to have a conversation. You realize this job's on computer, right?
See, I'm one of those ones. I've been using computers for so long. It's just like, it's natural for me to type. So I can remember like sitting at my desk one time and someone was talking to me and I'm looking at them and just typing away. And he's like, are you really actually typing something there? Or are you just hitting keys? I'm like, oh no, I'm typing all of it.
Yeah.
He's like, how are you? It's like, because I do this. It's what I do.
My former boss actually got mad at me. He's like, you type too fast. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm over here and I'm trying to keep up with you. And like, you're typing too fast. I was like, I'm typing too fast. You are made insecure by how quickly I'm typing. Really?
Well, I mean, wow. You know, you got to keep those fingers in shape.
We grew up with, well, you know, but we grew up with computers. It's a thing.
Yeah, and it did. I mean, our generation was really the first ones to grow up with computers. I mean, because you're about the same age as me, right? Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I'm 41.
Yeah, so you're the exact same age. So yeah, our generation
people,
was
I'm 41. Can you believe it?
No, I can. So.
I had to show my driver's license to somebody recently.
25.
I had to show my driver's license to one of the girls at my new job because she totally didn't believe me. She's like, no way, you're lying. And I was like, why would I lie about that? I don't believe you. And I was like, do you want to see my driver's license? She accused me of a fake driver's license.
Whenever I go out to like restaurants with Amber, we'll go to restaurants and literally they'll look at her and say, can I see ID? And then I'll be like, go to reach for mine. They're like, we don't need to see yours.
Oh!
And I'm looking at him like, she's older than me. Don't give me that. She's the older one.
We were at the grocery store. This was a couple of years ago, mind you. We were at the grocery store, Brad and I, and bottle of wine or whatever in our stuff. And the guy looks at the wine, looks at him, looks at me, looks back at him and goes, sir, are you buying wine for this underage girl? And Brad goes, what? Or no, he's like, sir, can I see your ID? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, it's for her. He's like, are you buying wine for this underage girl? And Brad just goes, what? But really? I brought out my ID. I was like, yeah, no, I'm the one drinking it. So sure, I don't whatever. Yeah. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
yay, living in the Pacific Northwest where you don't get any sunshine.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
We don't get any sunshine, so our skin doesn't melt. But
oh my God, this last weekend in Monterey, though, I got sunburned.
How was that? How was Monterey?
So like I said,
I've never gone to Monterey.
Mile and a half.
To.
It's not actually in Monterey. It's in Salinas. So it's like when they say Seattle, it's actually in Monroe. It's like a half hour or so away.
Well, it's like Vegas, and it's really in Arizona.
Right, Vegasona. Not quite that far away. At least it's in California still.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. So Salinas as a town, not so much. But this is like a hiking and bike trails park. And so there's lots of trails, a lot of it's single track, all up and down these hills. And it's just, this year it was absolutely gorgeous because they've gotten so much rain that it's green again. And there were spots where it was kind of squishy and mucky, and it was beautiful. It was great. Unfortunately, it's also kind of that like northern central California, no big, huge trees for any shade most of the time. So yeah, that first mile and a half straight uphill with no shade, all of my sunscreen was gone, and I burned like a lobster.
Oh, that's the worst. That was like the first year in Hawaii was that way, where it was like the first 3 miles, there was no shade. You would just straight through this freaking huge open like field, and it's like, I'm going to die. And then all of a sudden you hit this shade, and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. The last year in Hawaii, though, we had plenty of, well, not last year, 2 years ago when I did it. We had plenty of shade, but the first thing they did is put you through a stream, and you swam. And I'm sorry, but
Oh, every year. Every year I've done it. That stream is the first thing. Yeah.
And
that stream's the first thing, and it wipes away all your sunscreen's gone.
And I had no idea that, like, on the weather report, there was anything that was, like, the UV index. They were watching the weather report, like, the first couple of days were there, and, like, and the UV index today is ultra high. And I was like, what the fuck? Holy cow, no, this is not a thing. Oh, God, we're going to die. Poor pale, pasty Seattle girl, I'm going to die. Oh, yeah, it was great.
So that's why this year we're actually doing, but we're going to go a week ahead. So that way I get acclimated to the weather.
Because it's hot and humid as all get out, and good time.
Yeah. Well, and Amber loves Hawaii, so We're going to go for 2 weeks. We're going to go.
She's been counting down for like the last 6 months.
Oh, yeah. She's been counting down since the day they named the date. So, yeah.
Good God.
So, yeah. So, we're going to go for the week before and then the week after. So that way we'll have 2 weeks. I figure that way it gives me a week to really kind of get used to the weather, hydrate, get ready for it. And then after the race, a week to get smashed and drink like a pig.
I was about to say a week to, like, sit in bed because you're not going to be able to move and have people bring you drinks.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to lay on the beach and drink Mai Tais.
Yes. No more hurricanes in a hurricane.
Yes. I still have that cup. It's on my with my pops. So it's my hurricane and a hurricane and a hurricane. I totally listened to your podcast with Krisha on my way into work this morning. And I was laughing at that so hard. In fact, I'm pretty sure the guy next to me on the train thought I was on drugs because I just kept snorting because I was trying not to laugh out loud during the podcast. And at one point, I'm pretty sure he probably thought I was on drugs. Yeah, it's the train in Seattle. I'm pretty sure half the people were on drugs.
It's a commuter train out of Everett through Mukilteo and Edmonds. Like, there was nobody on it this morning. Sure. It's like, okay, so everybody took Friday off except me.
No. Yeah, no, I thought about taking Friday off, but I think my boss and everybody else did because I was the only one in the office today. So I got to like 1:30 and I'm like, I'm out. I'm going home.
Chill. Nice. That's a nice day.
What's nice? I work for like a nonprofit that's basically a government organization. So I can do whatever I want.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I like not working for the government anymore.
Yeah. I work for the AGC, the Associated General Contractors.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm a teacher.
You teach people not to break their feet.
Pretty much. Sure.
Yeah. Don't break your feet.
But that's the big part of my OSHA class is to watch out for ladders. They suck.
Yes, ladders, especially when you hire like the dumbest person on the earth to buy ladders and he buys the wrong ladder. I remember the story.
Yeah, it happens.
I think I actually used that story for like 2 years when I was teaching insurance class to demonstrate what workers' comp was.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Because they're like, wait, he did what? And I was like, he broke his foot in half.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's one of those things that's where I like, when I talk to people, I always talk about that. And it's like, the one thing you don't think about is that an injury doesn't change your work. It changes everything.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
when I broke my foot, I was finally down to almost 200 pounds. I was dropping the weight. I was working out daily. I was doing everything. And then all of a sudden, bam, there goes my foot. Now, the one thing that I was using for cardio was running. You can't really do that when your foot's broke. And
hey, but you got an elliptical recently.
Yes, I did. And I was going to say, L&I doesn't care about, like, getting you back to what your life was. They just care about getting you back to work. So
no, they couldn't care about what your life was.
No.
That's not what they're
So, yeah, I did get an elliptical. So that's
how's it going? Are you liking it?
I'm loving it. I think it's great. I mean, it's low impact, but it also, I feel like I really get a workout on it. I mean, my biggest problem with it, though, is because I like things to be difficult. I always turn to crank the resistance up to, like, the highest thing and go for it. So that, like, a half an hour, I'll get less than a mile, but I'll burn, like, 700 calories.
Dear gosh, man.
Yeah. I'll be, like, sweating like mad, just dripping off me because I've just crank it up to, like, the hardest resistance I can do. I'm like, yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Good for you.
I want my legs back. I really miss. I mean, I don't know if you remember, like, when I was dropping all the weight, my freaking legs were ripped.
They were cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had the legs where you, like, smacked you and nothing moved and your hand actually hurt.
Yeah.
I remember.
Exactly. Now I'm trying to get those back.
Wasn't it you that smacked my ass and almost broke your hand?
Yeah.
Is that somebody else? That was you, right? That was you. Okay.
Yeah, it was. And then I smacked the other side to try and make it even and almost broke the other hand. But,
Even swelling.
Yeah, even swelling.
You've got to go with even swelling.
Always.
I almost accidentally assaulted somebody at Orange Theory when I first started going last year. Their whole thing is like high fives on the way in, high five each other, blah, 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 whatever. It's a very, like, non-aggressive way to, congratulate each other. Cool. So there was this woman next to me and she high-fived me. Like, we're coming towards each other. She high-fived me. And my natural reaction was high-five and go and hit her ass. And I was like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. And she's like, that's okay. And I was like, other side, even swelling. She's like, yes. She's now one of my good friends.
Yeah. It's amazing how you make friends like that.
You have to. The other side, even swelling. That's a thing, right?
Oh, yeah. So how do you like the Orange Theory? I know you're, like, there all the time.
Like 4 and 5 times a week. I really like it. And I did powerlifting for 3 or 4 years. And I love lifting weights, but I wasn't like, powerlifting is like the same thing over and over and over again. And it just got really boring. And I was tired of having literally no cardiovascular fitness whatsoever. And I, saw this place opening up and I was like, sure, why not? I'll go try it out, see what have I got to lose? They give you the first 30 days for free. So went in there, and the first thing was I fell in love with the fact that it's people cheering for each other and community and cheer each other on. And it's always different, but somebody's telling you what to do. So you don't have to like sit there and think about programming for yourself. So when I was first trying to like get up some cardiovascular fitness on a treadmill, boring, just absolutely boring. I can't stand it. I'm just bored to snot. I can't handle it. It just, my ADD goes nuts. And like the class I went to tonight was primarily rowing of all things. And the coach was telling us what to do. So we're all doing about the same thing.
That's cool.
And I'm not having to think about what to do next. And I can yell and scream and cheer people on in my obnoxiously loud voice. And it's actually celebrated instead of somebody looking at you like a crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome. See, rowing,
I have a good time.
Ben loves rowing. For whatever reason,
loves
that's like
rowing.
Ben's favorite workout. Yeah, it's his favorite workout. I don't know.
Dude, he's crazy. I mean, I knew he was yours, but he's really crazy.
Yeah, he is. See, and I looked at the Orange Theory because I was going to do the one, they opened one by my house like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, right by you, right in your house, or right by your house.
And I was looking at it, but the problem that I have is, because I looked at signing up and I was looking at the month free thing and I was talking to them, it's the scheduling. My schedule
totally.
is so
your schedule's insane.
weird. So, it's like today I was in Fife at 7 o'clock. No problem. I live in Puyallup. Fife at 7 o'clock, no big deal. But Monday, I'm in Everett at 8.
They have them all over the place, right? The one I go to is in Linwood, just down the street from Everett.
And I know that, but it was, the hard part is just that my schedule's so, it changes all the time. Like, I didn't know I was going to be in Everett at 8 until earlier today. And, like, Monday, I'll find out where I'm going to be Tuesday. So it's hard for me to set up, like, a couple days in advance. And it seemed like a lot of the workouts, as I was trying to, like, figure it out, were filling up. If you didn't sign up 2 or 3 days ahead, you weren't going to get in.
But there's always the wait list. And my experience is, so I'll go on the wait list and I'll be like, they cap, our wait list caps at 10 people. I'll get on the wait list at like Friday at 7 o'clock for a Saturday morning class. Guarantee I get in because everybody starts drinking and everybody cancels. But I mean, it's not for everybody for that reason because it is a scheduled thing. I liked the flexibility of going to the gym whenever I wanted to when I was powerlifting, but then you also run into like, oh, well, if I go at this time during the day, it's all the dude bros and I have to fight them for the squat rack, or it's the gross creepy guy and the entire gym smells like rotten cheese. So.
And see, that's my biggest thing is, I don't know if it's on the last episode I was talking to this. I always worry because when I focus, I'm one of those people, I find like a spot and I stare at it. But I don't know what I'm staring at because my brain is checked out and I'm actually thinking and I don't even know what my eyes are looking at. And then I feel like I'm that guy that there's some girl going, is this creepy, long-haired fat dude over in the corner, like lifting weights who's staring at me? I'm like, I don't even know you're there.
I don't mind if somebody's staring. That doesn't bug me as much. It's the creepy guy that like invades your personal space and corners you and wants to talk to you and is sweating and gross. And you're like, please back the fuck off. If I can touch you by just reaching out my hand, like, you're too close. No,
I'm not that guy. I'm
totally
too shy to be that guy. I'm that guy that'll be, like, in the corner lifting weights or running on the treadmill or doing whatever by myself. And see, that's why I miss when I lost all the weight the last time, the company I worked at, we built a gym in the basement of the company.
Oh, awesome.
And I was the only one that used it. So on lunch every day, I would go downstairs, run on the treadmill, get on the bike, or the elliptical, lift weights, do whatever. I had a schedule that I had like written out on my calendar that, this day I'm going to do this. And then I would go down there and do it. And then there was a shower. I would take my shower. I would go back upstairs. I would make a sandwich and go sit down at my desk. And I would eat my lunch, and go back to work. And that was perfect. But the problem that I have now, the job I have, I don't have that gym, obviously. Plus, I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know where I'm going to be every day. So
that's why you've got to do it at your house. You've got it at your house.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I've got bands at my house now. So now I should be.
Like the resistance bands?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of them that I bought. So I've got, after this weekend is the 4 weeks after my surgery, so I can start lifting it. So I can start using the bands. I have some weights, I have an elliptical, I have a treadmill. So I have my own stuff at home to start doing. And that's what I'm trying to do is every morning get up early enough that I can do a half an hour to an hour on one of them and then, take a shower and go to work. So
that's amazing. That's so good.
Yeah.
Because your schedule, it doesn't suit that.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and
I went by
like a class.
No, it doesn't. So, and I think what was that? It was Monday. Monday, I had to go up to Burlington, and
Jeez.
I don't know if you know this. Oh, I go all over there. I was in Pullman like 2 weeks, but
I know. I heard you talk about driving 1,000 miles.
Yeah. So I was up in Burlington. Well, the Coleman has an outlet store in Burlington.
Really?
Yeah, they do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's like the two.
Don't tell me this.
Like
don't tell me this. I have
so.
a mortgage to pay. Don't tell me this, okay? I don't need to know
so
this.
I stopped in there and I got 2 half-gallon water jugs. The Coleman water, with the
yes.
You can flip up. You know what I'm talking about. Got 2
I
of
know
those,
exactly what you're
talking about. And got a new lunchbox, and I spent $20. That was it.
Nice.
So
Holy
now,
crap.
this whole week I've been making my lunch, putting it in my lunchbox, putting snacks in there that I can keep with me while I drive.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a big jug of water and taking that with me because that's my other problem. I'm driving all the time, so I stop and eat. The only time I did have to go, I did have, was it yesterday, I didn't have stuff to make a sandwich. So at lunch, I went to Subway, which is right next to where we were, class was. But
that's not bad.
I got an Italian BMT, but I got it on the spinach wrap, which amazing. Italian BMT on a spinach wrap is amazing. But I found the wraps. I even bought my own stuff so I can make wraps. I love wraps. I don't know why.
But you know what? They're really good. They're really good. I am dude, I'm French and Swedish, and the joke in my family is that you eat dinner with a fork in one hand, a piece of bread in the other. My entire family's been like that. So my body doesn't function without carbs, but those wraps are delicious.
Yeah,
because white bread's it's spongy and it's just bread and it's whatever. But those wraps, oh my gosh!
I don't like white bread. I haven't eaten white bread since high school. I will not eat white bread. It's got to be oat nut. It's got to be wheat. I won't even eat normal wheat bread. It's I am a bread snob.
Well, we know this. We know you're a snob. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So I have to get if I go buy bread, it's the oat nut, whatever. Yeah, it's got to be. Nope. If it's
Dave's
just
Killer
normal
bread?
white bread, yes, that's good stuff. So,
that's good stuff. I like that stuff.
Yeah. If it's just normal white bread, I'm nope, I'm out.
Well, I live with Brad. He's a 12-year-old. I mean, he's normal white bread, PB&J, grilled cheese sandwich kind of guy. He's adorable, but he's a 12-year-old. So we love Brad.
Well, we
Brad's
love Brad.
Wonderful.
We love Brad.
The Sherpa.
We love Brad.
The
Sherpa. Oh.
He's amazing.
So
he's off playing with his guy friends tonight. They're beating each other up or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, that is it. I know it sounds bad, but I want to go LARPing with him sometime.
Oh my God. It is amazing to watch, and I love it when he does that because he comes home and he's so relaxed. He's the least violent person on the planet. He would never ever lash out and hurt someone, but you put him on the field with a foam stick in his hand, he's going to beat the living fuck out of somebody. And he comes home and he's so happy. He's oh, I'm happy. I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap now. I'm what the hell? This is better than therapy.
See, and a lot of people don't know about me. When I was growing up, I played Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
I did all of those things. I was that's why my other podcast, Re-Nerdish, is all about being a nerd. Because it was one of those things that was a part of my life that I hid as a teenager because I was the skater. I had long hair in high school too, but I was the skater, everything else. And it's I didn't have that image of the guy who played Dungeons and Dragons, Robotech, all that stuff,
so,
the dice games. And
Brad learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons in the back of the school bus. Because this is back when Seattle schools would bus kids all over the place to try and diversify. And he lived in Northgate, Seattle, and they bussed him all the way down to South Central, way down south, Roosevelt Central District type place. And so they bussed him all the way down there. And he's it was a 2-hour bus ride, dropping everybody off all the way because I was the last kid they dropped off. So he learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons on a 2-hour bus ride in the back of the bus with a friend of his. And he's been playing Dungeons and Dragons since pretty much elementary school. And he was also the jock. He was a 3 athlete jock in high school. You wouldn't know it now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Track, football, and swimming.
Oh, wow.
His Letterman's jacket is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah,
he was the total jock.
I'm not a swimmer. I don't swim.
He didn't either. He learned to swim on swim team. How crazy is that?
Well, that is crazy.
Isn't that weird? He's like, yeah, I don't know how to swim. I think I'll go out for swim team. It's like, what?
Hey, makes sense. No, makes sense to me.
Hey, there were girls there in swimsuits.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
I was a baseball player. The only sport I played was baseball. And in junior high, I blew my left knee.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was it. It was one of those, like, by the time my knee healed, like my freshman year, they said that I could play. He's like, if you want to play like a bench player for the year and just sit on the bench and you can bat when you want, because I still wasn't released to run. But he's like, I was released enough that I could have like batted and then ran to first, and then they would like pinch runner. And I'm like,
all right, Edgar Martinez.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to take that. I don't want to do that to my knee. It's like, I want my knee to heal. But then of course by the time my knee was healed, I found drugs and girls. So baseball was done.
Because girls, man.
Girls. It's like I don't want to chase balls. I want to chase boobs. But so yeah.
Truth.
So yeah, and then I was 22 when I blew my right knee. Yeah. It
is amazing. So did you know that last year I sprained my ankle so severely that I was on crutches for a while?
I saw something about it, but I know you hit it pretty well.
Maybe.
I don't know about hiding it. You just didn't talk about it.
I didn't talk about it. It's hard to hide it when you're being wheelchaired through SeaTac Airport with crutches and that little thing that goes beep, beep, beep to get people out of your way. That was fun.
Nice.
I just didn't post about it. So I sprained my ankle. I did SoCal in January with Christian Nacho. And during the Super, I sprained my ankle really bad. Like the one where it goes pop and you're wondering if the next day if it's broken.
Yep.
Same thing in Arizona in February. I fell off the slip wall because the slip wall was absolutely like, it had nothing on Seattle that year where it was just covered in mud. It was so awful. I've never seen this kind of mud before. It was like, it's like somebody just poured lube all over the wall. It was great. And so right. So I slid down the slip wall and everything at the bottom was mud and my ankle just like, I landed on the side of my foot, full body weight side of my foot. So that was good times. Luckily it was the last obstacle before the fire jump. And then where did I race in March? I forget where we raced in March, but I did it again in Seattle. You were there when I did it in Seattle and I fell down. Both days. I sprained it both days in Seattle. And the second day I fell on it and I
did it at the start
in the gravel. And in the middle of the race. I think I
sprained it 3 times. Started. Like as we're running out of the start gate, you're like, out. Like really? Like you didn't even make it 50 feet from the start line.
It's better than the year that I only made it 20 feet and I Supermaned and I slid through the grass.
You know what happened.
That was hilarious because I was running for 20 feet and I was so excited, like woohoo! And I hit something and my ankle rolled and I went flying and I hit the grass and I slid for like another 10 feet. I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, oh my God, can I just take my medal and go home? I just did that.
That's at that point you're like, yeah, I'm fine. Stop looking at me. I got to go hide. Just let me go.
There's nowhere to hide. You're in the middle of a field. There's nowhere to hide. But I sprained it.
That's why we get along. We're both so accident prone. It's like ridiculous. But.
It's ridiculous. I sprained it so bad in Big Bear in May that that night I got up to go to the bathroom and I stood up out of the bed and I fell to the floor. Like I couldn't put any weight on it. So I was crawling on my hands and knees to the bathroom. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, let's see if I can put any weight on it this morning. I couldn't put any weight on it. I couldn't even do like that hoppy hop thing that you try and do when you sprain your ankle.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't hold any weight at all. And so I literally, this is probably hilarious for Kirsha or scary, I'm not sure which. But I crawled on my hands and knees out of the bedroom. And I was like, hey, Kirsha. She's like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, I think we need to find an urgent care. You know all the plans we had to like go hang out in Big Bear. We're gonna go get my ankle X-rayed first. And so I was pretty much I couldn't run. So at Orange Theory, one of our coaches is actually a doctor, and she's like, "You're going to use the bike until you can put pressure on your ankle. You're gonna." I mean, it wasn't broken; it was just a severe sprain.
Yeah,
and
I've done that one.
Yeah, it was bad. He's like, okay, so this is going to take like a month or two of rest. I was like, that doesn't work for me. I'm not going to do that. No. So I had to modify everything for like 2 months.
See, that's what's funny is like for me, like doing running is my parents are shocked. They're like, you realize like every major injury you pretty much had as a child was to your legs, and you want to run.
Yeah.
Like, let's see, my dad, the first time I screwed up my ankle, I was 2 years old. My dad ran me over with a van, ran over my ankle.
Your dad ran you over the van. I mean, at that point, did you not realize that, like, you were like the millionth child? They had a couple to spare.
Yeah, pretty much that's what it was. What it really was is it was one of those, like, my dad and my sister were going somewhere, and I was pissed because I didn't get to go. And I'm like, why can't I go? So they went out to the van, and when they went out to the van, they went out the front door. I ran out the back door, and somehow
did you lay down under the van in protest?
Well, no, but they think what it was is I was running around to try to get to to one of the doors, but like the way it was one of those full-size Dodge vans. You remember those, like the child molester vans, but it had the full windows,
the
so
murder
you
van.
could see into it. But yeah, the murder vans, and it was one of those. So as I came running around, my dad couldn't see me in the mirror until he heard the thump and ran me over. So that's the first time I did my ankle in. And then when I was I think I was 15, I'm playing t-ball in the backyard with a wiffle ball.
You were not playing t-ball at 15.
Well, I was playing with my nieces and nephews. We were goofing off. So I mean, I was playing with my nieces and nephews and decided to, I was going to be all special, and I went running for home, and somehow sliding into home, my foot hit, like the edge of my foot hit the base and stopped, and the rest of my body kept going. And my ankle, like, my sister said pretty much it looked like the side of my foot touched, like, the side of my calf.
So I messed up my ankle so bad in high school doing gymnastics, because gymnastics is really, really good for a body, that I could actually stand. I could stand and turn my foot all the way upside down and look at the bottom of my foot.
No, that's always good.
Yeah. And it's my same right ankle. I mean, it's gotten a lot stronger in the last year. Running, I mean, and also the treadmills that we have at the gym at Orange are, they're bouncies. And so they have that give right in the center there. So those are really good on crappy ankles. And that's really helped me a lot. And I went to one of the other gyms that had the older ones, and I was like, okay, so that hurt, and I'm never coming back.
Yeah. Well,
they got the new ones now, so maybe I'll go back.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, it's one of those things a lot of people don't think about. I mean, once you get, not to sound bad, but once you get to our age, we have done so many things when we were younger, and but our generation, it wasn't I have a little bit of pain, I'm going to go to the doctor. It was pretty much, as long as your leg was still attached, you didn't go to the doctor.
So I still remember to this day, my mother never trusted doctors, like ever. I think the last time I saw a doctor as a kid, until I started making my own appointments at 16 and going on my own, was when I was like elementary school or something, and you had to get your shots to be able to go to school. Like, that's the last time I saw a doctor, until I was 16 and started making my own appointments. I remember that I dislocated my left knee 90 degrees to the left, and so my leg made an L. It was very cool looking, and I tore all the ligaments in there, and my friends actually took me to the hospital when it happened. And I called my parents from the hospital, and they lived 10 minutes from the hospital. An hour later, they show up, because your kid's in the emergency room, no big deal, right? And
you're already at the emergency room, so you can take care of it.
Well, my dad's first response was, congratulations, you're the first of our children to land in the hospital. My mom's response was, I'm tired, honey, we're going home. And I was like, but my knee. And she's like, put some ice on it and quit whining, we're going home. Ice? Really? They think I tore something. She's like, uh-huh. I'm like,
put some ice on
it. I grew up in a split-level house. Like, you walk in the front door, you have to go up or you have to go down. You can't do anything else. And it was always like, put some ice on it and stop. Yeah, I was like, okay. So I'm just going to go. I learned how to go upstairs on my butt. It was great.
Oh, nice. That's always easy. Well, see, for me, it was one of those, it wasn't as much my parents as me. I hated the doctor because, what some people know and some don't, I was very sick as a child, like very sick.
Oh, yeah?
Like I wasn't supposed to live past the age of 5.
Wow.
They were wrong, obviously, but.
Well, their best attempts.
Yeah, that's why they call it practice, and they're practicing. But so I hated going to the doctor because, I was one of those kids that my mom, once told me the story that she remembers a nurse literally crying and walking out of the room because I had figured out by the age of about 2 that if I laid still, it hurt less when they drew blood. but I would still cry like mad. But I would lay completely and utterly like still, like relaxed. But from the neck up, I'm screaming like bloody murder. But the rest of me, I'm like totally, because I'd figured out it hurt. And there was a nurse that literally started crying because she's like, I can't believe this kid has already figured this out, because that's how much we've had to stick him. Because back then, you know as well as I do, it wasn't like now where they stick you and they one time and they just change the vial. Back then, if they wanted, 4 different, they stuck you 4 times.
I know. I remember. Yeah, I remember going and getting my blood drawn for whatever test it was when you're a kid. And, I was like, why are you sticking me over and over and over again if you only need a little blood? She's like, well, I need a little blood for this and a little blood for that and a little blood for this. And I was like, this is dumb.
For each test, they had to pull a different vial. It was horrible. So, I figured it out. So I was that kid that, I had severe asthma. So to the point where, like, when I was 5, I was DOA one time at the hospital. But
dear God, man.
Apparently they brought me back, obviously. But, so, it's...
that makes so much sense now.
As I got older, I hated the doctors. So it's like pretty much like as long as my limb was still attached, I'm like, I ain't going. So, but it was bad. Like the group health in Redmond, pretty much my mom's had group death. My mom just had to call them and say my name. She'd just call and say my name, where they're like, we'll have his room ready.
That's actually what Brad and his little brother were like when they were growing up. So one or the other of them was in the emergency room about once a month. Brad still tells the story that they were at the Marine Corps picnic because their mom's boyfriend was in the Marine Corps, and they were at the Marine Corps picnic, and they weren't allowed to do any of the fun stuff because they were too little. So they were sitting on the swings, and they're just sitting on the swings. They're not even swinging. They're just sitting there, and Adam just like falls off and breaks his arm, like sitting perfectly still, just falls off and breaks his arm. And he's like, and he like walks over to, a bunch of Marines and his mom. He's like, I think my arms hurt. And like the Marines are like, whoa, oh my God, your arm's going the wrong direction. So group death.
Well, see, I was that kid too, because, when my parents never hid it from me. So I knew that I was sick. And I knew that, pretty much I was in the room. They didn't make like most times the parents would make the kid leave the room and the doctor's telling you, hey, your kid's going to die. They let me stay in the room because they're like, let him know. We're not going to baby him. We're just going to let him, we figure if we put him in a bubble, he's not going to live anyway. So what's the point? Asthma, severe asthma.
Really?
Like severe. But there was no cause. They could never figure out why. Like I could run and do everything and I was fine. But then all of a sudden, pretty much. But then all of a sudden, I knew. Like I figured out at a young age, I could tell. I knew what it felt like when one was coming on. So I could tell my mom, hey, we need to go to the hospital because it's about to happen. So, but it was bad enough that like, if I wasn't in the hospital within like 45 minutes to half an hour to 45 minutes, I would turn blue. And that's what happened the one time. I literally I was having too much fun. Didn't want to tell my mom. By the time I told my mom, it was too late.
I knew you were playing. I knew it.
Yeah. By the time I told my mom, it was too late. And by the time we got to the hospital, I had turned blue and quit breathing. So, but because of that, it gives you this whole different outlook on life. Because most kids are like, oh my God, I can't do this. I might die. And I'm like, I'm going to die anyway. So why not?
I was always told I couldn't because I'm a girl and I wasn't good enough and I couldn't. And I was like,
that's the worst.
Bitch, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. You don't think I can let her in a sport? I'm going to prove you wrong. You don't think that I'm as smart as my sibling? I'm going to prove you wrong. So I did a lot of stuff to spite people.
Yeah, see, mine was just because
it
was like, that's awesome. I
wrestled in high school to spite my gymnastics teacher.
Oh, there you go. Like, I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well have fun before it happens. So, like, I have an aunt in California who has not talked to me in 30-something years and told my parents she would never babysit or deal with me ever again because I was 8.
Why? What did you do?
Because we were down in California on a river swimming. Should probably pay more attention. But we're swimming in the river, and she said all of a sudden, she told my mom, she turned her head for a minute to like make sandwiches for us kids, and she turns back around, and I'm about 40 to 45 feet up the side of the cliff. Just decided to start climbing. My mom's like, if he can get his hands on anything, he'll climb. That's just what he does. He climbs. Well, I'm like 40 to 45 feet in the air, and then she said the wrong thing. She said, get down. I said, sure. So I literally just turned around and jumped straight down because the river was down there and dropped 45 feet into the river. And she said her heart just about stopped. And she's like, yeah, I never want to deal with that kid again. He's insane. There's something wrong with him.
Well, yes. Would you like me to start in alphabetical order or order of importance? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. It's just when you grow up with that whole thing of like it's instilled in your brain that you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, if I'm going to die, why do I have to worry about it? Let's go do this.
Why am I going to try and be careful?
I was the kid who, like, I think I was, about 20 years old, and I had to go in for a head x-ray because I'd hit myself in the head at work. And the doctor did x-rays, and they're like, well, there's no skull fractures this time, but it looks like the last ones have healed nicely. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
The last ones?
And he's like, I can see multiple, like 4 or 5 different skull fractures that you've had over the years that have healed. And I'm like, well, I could think of a couple of those where they probably happened. But, yeah, no, I just never.
That also makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It does.
You were a zombie with concussions.
Oh, lots of them. Lots of concussions. We didn't wear helmets. Helmets were for pussies.
Well, helmets made your hair look funny, and they were hot.
They did.
And, yeah, no. I wore my helmet down the hill and out of my neighborhood. As soon as I got on the trail anywhere, the helmet came off. I actually got pulled over by the Bellevue cops when I was a kid, and I could not figure out why. Like, I was riding my bike to drill team practice at school during the summer because I didn't have a driver's license or a car. And, my parents worked, and so I had to get there somehow, and it was like 5 miles from home, so I rode my bike. I was like 1 block from school, and a cop pulls up next to me and flashes his lights, and I was like, I'm on a bike. Like, what rules am I breaking? I'm on a bike. And he pulled me over in the 7-Eleven parking lot. He's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, honestly, I don't know. I'm not trying to be dumb, but I have no idea. He's like, you're not wearing a helmet. Is that a law? He's like, no, but it's a really good idea. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, he's like, you should wear a helmet. I'm like, so I'm a girl and I'm like 15, and that's probably not going to happen. But okay,
it's going to totally mess up your hair. I was actually, I got pulled over for speeding on a bicycle.
No.
Yep. There was a hill. I grew up in Maple Valley, but we go up to Fairwood all the time. And there's a hill coming out of Fairwood down to Maple Valley Highway. Just a huge, long, steep hill. And we were coming down that, and I just went for it. Put my bike, I had a mountain bike, put it in the lowest gear I could, and just started pedaling as hard as I could. And straight down the hill, and I started passing the cars. And as fast as I could down the hill. And the cop all of a sudden pulls me over. He's like, do you know how fast you were going? I'm like, do you see a speedometer?
No, but please tell me.
He's like, you were doing 55 and a 30. And I'm like, really?
No way.
55?
I didn't think a bike could do that. I thought it would rattle apart.
Oh, it was getting there. It was one of those ones where the pucker factor starts setting in because that front tire starts to shake and you start to get the wobble and you're like, oh, yes, I think I'm going to die. Because, there's no helmet either. So at that point, if I'd gone down, it would have been toast. But the cop's like, what are you doing? I'm like,
stain on the sidewalk.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, when you grew up with that whole mentality, I mean, it took me, I'm in my 40s and I still have problems with that mentality of, well, I'm going to die anyway, so who cares?
That's pretty much where I'm at. My dad was like the healthiest one in the family. He was the one that rode his bike 30 miles to work in the summer, super duper healthy, eating right and all that stuff. Never smoked, rarely drank, never did drugs. Super duper healthy one, right? Dude gets leukemia when he's 51 and dies. And I was like, are you freaking kidding? And I remember having to go to my niece's second birthday party and tell everybody, oh yeah, by the way, Dad can't be here because he's in the hospital. He's got leukemia. And my uncle, who is a total druggie, alcoholic, whatever, he looked at me like, your dad, the healthy one has leukemia. Fuck it, let's start drinking.
Yeah.
All right. There's one way to deal with it.
Well, it's kind of one of those things that, I mean, it really does put that into perspective when you think about it. It's no matter how healthy you are, bad things can happen. But at the same time, as someone who's gotten healthier, your life's better while you're healthy.
Yeah. And so my whole thing is I'm going to go out and I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do what I want to do and, enjoy and hopefully inspire people along the way. Because life is too short to just sit around and wait for retirement to do this crap. I want to do it now. Exactly.
And it's one of those things that's in a case like that where it's he was healthy as can be, but got leukemia. It's it's more than likely he would have got it either way. So, but he was healthy and he could enjoy life up until he got it.
And I see all these people doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I see all these people oh, well, if a healthy person's going to get it, why should I be healthy? It's like, because it's a better life. It's like, would you rather be healthy and out there walking and having fun with your friends and goofing off, or sitting on the couch and getting, you get winded when you get up to go to the bathroom? I mean, that's a problem.
So there's a gal that I work with that blows my mind. She's the one that didn't believe how old I was. She's in her like mid to late 20s, and she could not believe that I was 41. Like, I had to show her my driver's license. She accused me of it being fake. And so we work on the 6th floor, and the cafeteria, because they feed us at work, it's amazing, is on the 7th floor. She will not walk up one flight of stairs. She will take the elevator because she can't walk up a flight of stairs. And she's not a big gal. She just is absolutely zero fitness. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, what do you do when you go home? I watch YouTube videos. Okay.
And see, there's a lot of people
I
like
watch
that.
Netflix.
I got some friends that are like that have like lost a whole bunch of weight, but they've done it just on like diet and, all that kind of stuff. It's like they couldn't walk more than 30 feet without getting winded. It's like, cool, you lost all this weight, you're skinny, but what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm sorry. I've had an eating disorder in my life, so the idea of like losing a bunch of weight by just not eating, oh my God, no, thank you. I would rather spend time on, lifting weights in a treadmill and freaking the rowing machine today. Like I'll do that before I go with the whole like eating disorder thing again. Thank you.
No, that was the thing with me is I figured out if I can eat every couple hours and just small meals, I'm good. My biggest problem is I'm one of those, I get distracted really easy because I'm pretty sure, my mom tells me I probably have ADD, but I've never been diagnosed and I really don't care at this point. If I'm 41 and live this long without drugs, I'm probably fine. But I can get distracted enough. Like I'll go days without eating if I don't think about it. Yeah.
Your body's like a bear.
And that's what I would do as a teenager all the time. Like my mom would come up to me and be like, hey, when's the last time you ate? And I'm like, if you have to think about it, there's a problem. And I'm like, I'm just not hungry. And that's kind of the one thing. And then
I don't do well with solid food in the morning. I never have. My mom would force me to eat breakfast before I'd leave for school, and I'd usually be sick on the way to school. Yeah, my dad was the same way. And my dad would have a big old glass of milk or whatever, and then he'd eat breakfast at work like an hour or two later. And so I'm the same way. But now that I work, so I work at Facebook now. I work for the training department at, have you heard of Oculus, the VR headsets?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's where I work. I work for Oculus.
Oh, you suck.
Oh, you have no idea, dude. Like they literally gave me a free headset to go home and play with over the weekend to bug. I'm like, are you joking? Like, okay.
Do you ever want to go into safety training? I may know a guy that knows a lot about safety training that loves that kind of thing, but I'm just saying.
I actually work for EHS. I actually work for Environmental Health and Safety. So I'm teaching people not to look at lasers.
No. What's wrong with that?
Don't look at lasers, and before you touch the liquid nitrogen, please put on the appropriate PPE. Like, it's my job's hilarious. But they feed us at work, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. There's food everywhere, and I've actually noticed that, like, I'll get to work and I'll work for like a half hour, an hour, whatever, make sure nothing blew up in the middle of the night. Because we have offices all the way over in like Cork, Ireland too. So I get in at 8 o'clock in the morning. They're almost walking out the door. So I have to make sure that like I'm answering their stuff before they leave. Yeah. And so it's like once I've done most of my like urgent stuff, I'll go upstairs and I'll actually eat breakfast. It's amazing. Like, what's this like? This is cool. I'm not like ready to gnaw my own arm off at lunch. I'm not snapping at people at 11:15. This is cool. I like
that would be awesome. See, if I had something like that where there was like food there, I would grab something, and I'm really good if there's like food like just I can grab and like when I want to munch, I'll munch all day long. It's just like small amounts. But if there's nothing in front of me, I won't think about to go get it.
Well, there's also what they call a micro kitchen about 20 feet from my desk, and it has a ton of snacks. It has 2 fridges full of different kinds of like snacks, drinks, milks. They have an espresso machine there. I've taught about half of my floor how to use the espresso machine. It's kind of amazing. But they call it the Facebook 15 because people will just like get up and grab like candy and munch all day long. But they also have some healthy stuff. They've got hummus and carrots, which makes me really happy.
See, I would try and go for the healthy stuff. But I would probably get some of the sweet stuff too because I like that. See, my biggest problem was like when me and Amber got married, I was 160 pounds.
Yeah.
160.
She cooks nice.
She does. She cooks. That's the problem. What are you talking about? Well, both of us do. But we can both cook really good. But that's the problem. Is all of a sudden it was like I had nightly meals and everything else, and it was like I could eat. Where, like, when I was single, I mean, I would go 2 or 3 days and then somebody be like, oh, I should probably make some food. So my body was always in starvation.
Yep,
So
holding on to everything it could.
Yep. And I broke my body of that habit. And then when I stopped working at that one company and I went back into my bad eating habits, it all went back. Because I'll go all day. I'm one of those, if I don't bring food to work with me, I don't necessarily will stop and get it. I'm not one of those that'll just be like, oh, there's McDonald's. I'll stop and get McDonald's. I'll be like, oh, I shouldn't eat that, so I just won't eat it all.
I used to be like that. I bring my food to work. Yeah. And if I didn't, there was nothing to eat at work.
Yeah. And then I get home and I eat like enough for like 5 people when I eat dinner. So, yeah.
Yeah. That is one thing that it's a version of self-care, and it's really hard to break yourself of that habit of just go, 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 go. Luckily, I sit in a little pod of people, and we've made it like between 12 and 12:15, we will stop and we'll start harassing each other to go get lunch. Go get lunch.
Yeah.
Go get lunch.
And see, that was it for me, when I had the set schedule. When I had the one time where the company where I worked at a desk, the lunchroom was right there. I could go to it, and I had a set schedule. At 6 o'clock, I got to work. I would have a yogurt. At 9 o'clock, I would grab like 100 calories something, you know, and then at noon, I would go work out. And then on my way back up, I'd make a sandwich. And then at 3, I would, you know, eat something. And then on my way, once I got home, I would have dinner. So it was like every 3 hours, every 3 hours I was eating something small. But then I get, you know, now all of a sudden I'm driving all day and I forget. And that schedule is not there. And that's my biggest thing, is that's balance between, no matter how much I work out, doesn't really help if I'm not eating right. And then it's like, if I'm eating right is good, but it's better if I'm working out. So it's trying to get that balance of getting them both going at the same time. So I seem to have a habit of getting one. I get a habit of getting one going right and not the other. So I stay fat and, you know, whatever. But
you just got your little Christmas sweater on.
Yeah, all the time. I've got my hibernation fats. There's no,
can I just call you
no
Teddy Bear
hibernation
from now
going.
on? Can you say Teddy Bear from now on? I mean, I've got a nickname.
Stalker, so.
Well, no, Stalker's still a very affectionate nickname.
It is. And then I've had the fun of being like the guy, like the Facebook bomber, which makes the Stalker name so much better.
Facebook what?
Or the photo bomber. I've been photo bombing like everybody.
Oh, yeah. Facebook photo bomber. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think it was Landy, I think. I got her, like, her whole family took this really great picture at the train race last year. And they're like, yay. Oh, no. And it was like 2 hours later, all of a sudden, I get this, like, message from Landy. She's like, you jerk. And I'm like, what? And she shows me the picture, like, right on her husband's shoulder, like, just above his shoulder. You can see my eyes popping up. And she's like,
God,
really?
You're amazing.
She's like, it took me like 2 hours to see you there.
We can be proud of that. You gave me the nickname Dadass. I gave you the nickname Stalker.
You did.
You can be proud. We can be proud of that. Yeah.
That was that first year at Washougal. That year.
Was it? Is that when it was?
I think it was at Washougal that in 2015. When
No. I think it started before that, because it was in Montana 2015 that we took the picture where I like dropped my pants and I was wearing the underwear that said "Kiss This," and a couple people were actually kissing my ass and I was looking over my shoulder. That's when it started.
That is.
I still have that picture.
That's when I met
one
you.
of my favorite photos. Yep, in Montana 2015. That effing mountain. Though that's where I met Christian, so I can't hate it too much.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I'm still so mad at myself because this is the first year I missed Montana.
I know. I'm so sorry.
15.
I'm so sorry. That sucks.
It was needed, and my doctor was right. He's like, if I don't do the surgery now, you're going to go to Montana.
Yeah,
like, you're right. I will. It's like, you're right. Because once we did the surgery, it's like, there's no way. Yeah, and that was it. I shouldn't have done Seattle.
You know what?
I should have done Seattle.
I was really, really pissed that I was going to miss Seattle because of this wedding. I was in my friend's wedding, and I was like trying to justify like how I could go race Seattle in the morning and then like shower really quick and go to her evening wedding. And I was like, it's just not going to work, and let's just not do that. And fine. I was so upset, but I resigned to the fact that I was missing Seattle, but I was going to do the next day with everybody, and I was excited until like 11, 12 o'clock in the morning. I start getting all these pings. I'm like, what the hell? People are finishing really fast. Oh no, DNF. I'm like, oh crap.
It was brutal. If it hadn't been for the Britons, the whole family, basically, Andrea, Michael, Mitchell, all of them.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Benton wouldn't have finished. But Benton like found a common ground with them and started talking like in Japanese, so I couldn't understand what he was saying. But
that's awesome. That's
so
amazing.
they started talking in Japanese and talking about anime, and all of a sudden, I mean, he was ready to quit. He's like, I can't do this, Dad. This is way too cold. This is horrible. And then they started talking, and like they went on their kick, and it's like, okay, he's forgotten about how cold he is, so let's just keep going and hope he doesn't think about it again.
Yep.
It was brutal.
Worse than last year is what I heard.
Well, the thing was, I don't think it was as wet as last year, but it was colder. The wind,
yeah,
and it was
the wind.
colder. Yeah.
So we went out to do, because we're getting like wedding photos and stuff like that done. And it was sideways rain and like this whole glass area up in Mukilteo and like the wind and the rain. And we're like, okay, so all of our photos are going to be indoors. That's cool. Yeah. And I'm just silently thinking, I'm so glad I'm not in the mud right now.
You would have loved it.
Hey, I would have liked it.
Yes.
But ultimately,
well, I mean, it was like what?
She only gets married once.
That's true. Well, you never know, but
hopefully.
I got so much trouble with one of my friends who I was going to miss their wedding. I'm like, I'll catch the next one, and then they got really mad at me for that. But it's apparently something you don't say to someone before they get married.
Nope.
Yeah. But I was right. She's on number 3 now, so it's fine. And I still haven't been to one of them. So yeah.
Just get him a really nice gift for number 4 and be like, hey, this makes up for all the rest of it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think number 4 is going to be the same guy that was number 2, but whatever. But
you couldn't do it right the first time?
Yeah, pretty much. You know how people are.
Yeah, whatever.
But, it was like 2 years ago. You remember when it was just pouring down rain the entire time in Seattle?
Wasn't that last year?
The whole race. No, it was like 2 years ago because it was the time it was, you were with us. It was,
you're right.
I can never say her name.
Yeah.
Rajmi. Whatever.
Rajmi.
Rajmi. I can never say that right, and I always feel so bad. When we got her up the slip wall, where it was me and whatever his name is, like helped her up that wall. That's the year. Yeah, that's the year that I always remember as being worse because that year was just it was cold and it never stopped raining. Never stopped.
And we found out that where they put the bucket every year, that little like downhill towards the road, that's actually a drainage hill.
Yeah.
And it like carved through and people were slipping and falling and sliding down that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
April in Seattle. Why?
It's one of those things though, I've had this argument with people maybe move it like a month. But the problem that I run into is if you go too far into the summer, look how easy this beast is. If you did the super, the beast is so easy. But that's what makes that super so hard is the weather. If it's not for the weather, that beast is nothing.
My beast time was 10 minutes faster than my super time.
Exactly. So if you move it up to, like June, it's going to be so easy because it's so dry. You're going to be done in an hour.
I'm sorry. Did you say dry in June? Did you not see the amount of rain we got last night? We got like 2 inches of rain in 10 minutes last night.
Okay. It would still be a little bit wet, but it wouldn't be, I don't know.
It wouldn't be April.
I like the April because I like the challenge of it. It sucks, but we know it's, and I like that challenge because I like that different challenge on different races. Because, you got Vegas that I normally do in March, which is usually dry and warm in March. And then I do Seattle, which is wet and nasty in April. Montana, which could go either way.
Yeah.
Some years it's been wet and nasty. Some years it's been nice and warm.
This year was okay.
And then I don't know. I was lame, but and then we go. And then I usually don't do another Spartan until Washougal. So
which is hotter than Hades.
Which is hotter than Hades. And then I go to Hawaii, which is humid. So it's like I like that like every race that I do every year has that little bit. It's not just the obstacles, it's the weather that makes it completely different and gives me that extra challenge of trying to figure out how am I going to deal with this weather. So this year, I think I'm doing
Big Bear this year.
I'm doing Tahoe. Oh, I heard.
Oh, dude. So I love Tahoe. I've done Tahoe 3 times. Last year was the first time I didn't do Tahoe. The best thing I can say is layers. Because
I've never done Tahoe.
At the bottom, it's not bad. At the top, it's cold as hell. And if you thought it was windy in Seattle, it is like you get to the top of that mountain and it will push you sideways. So layers, lots of layers. And I'm not joking. I'm talking like 2 layers on the bottom, 3 layers on the top, like a jacket that you can take off, a long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve shirt. Like, you must layer up, and you've got to wear something on your head. You've got to have a beanie. You probably should have like a buff or something across your face. I would recommend gloves too, and not just those crappy little 99-cent store gloves. I'm talking like actual gloves and Ziploc bags to keep your stuff dry.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I've never done Tahoe, but
it's amazing.
I didn't do Montana. I've never done Montana. I didn't do Montana this year, and I was signed up. I transferred my Montana race to Tahoe.
You're gonna love it. It's amazing.
Well, I'm already supposed to be in Tahoe. I'm still trying to figure out all the specifics, but as BeastNet, we have been invited by Spartans to Tahoe for the media.
Oh,
yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So we were invited. So I'm supposed to be there, I think, Thursday, Friday for media with all the racers and all that kind of stuff. And then Saturday's supposed to be another day, but I'm like, I'm racing Saturday if I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
does your elliptical do elevation, or does it just do resistance?
It does elevation too. So, and that's actually what I've been doing. I've been pushing it like to the highest elevation and resistance at the same time because, well, Montana, but
yeah, no, Tahoe is. So you remember that one spot in Montana where it was like straight up and it was like a 45-degree angle and everybody was dying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of Tahoe.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, you're gonna love Tahoe, and the views are even better than Montana, if you can say a thing. Like, it's unreal.
Wow. Well, and I think Jody has said, I think she signed up for Tahoe so that she could be my partner. I didn't have anyone to race with. I'm like, I'm just going for it because I just do things because I don't plan. I think we figured this out. Anyone who listens to the podcast knows I don't plan. I just randomly do things and hope it ends out okay. So,
like a half marathon this weekend or a full marathon this weekend.
The full marathon, yeah. See, actually, when this airs, it'll be the day after the marathon. So either people are going to know I'm dead or, this is my last, the last thing anyone will hear from me, or I'll just be recovering. But
or it'll be the last thing anybody hears from you besides a swear word.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, I mean, you know me, you've raced with me. I don't know when to stop. You were with me in Washougal when I pretty much, I have scars on my wrist from sliding that.
Oh my God, I swear to God, I thought you'd broken your wrist. And you still kept going.
I got over that thing.
I know you did.
I got over it.
Without help.
Yeah, but my wrist was sure, whatever.
It was bleeding so bad. Oh, it was so bad.
I was hiding it from the volunteers. Because
I know you were.
Like the first time a volunteer saw it and I saw the blood and they're like, and I'm like, you didn't see nothing, dude. Stop looking. You're not pulling me off this course. I'm finishing.
Oh my God, that year. Yep, I know. Like, throw some water on it, cover it up with some dirt. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Put some dirt on it. You'll be fine. Yeah.
Especially that dirt,
Oh yeah, Washougal dirt.
Makes the best mud ever. Love that mud. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun.
Crazy. This year, I'm pretty much, me and Benton are driving down because this is Benton's sprint. Benton's already done the Super in Seattle. This will be his sprint for his trifecta because he did a trifecta last year. He wants a trifecta again this year.
Hell yeah, he does.
This will be his sprint. So we're going to drive down, race, and then turn around and drive right back because I literally leave for Hawaii the next day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So the terrain race in Portland is the next day, and they had free registration a while ago around New Year's, and I signed up for it. And I was like, wait a second, that's the day after Washougal. I should probably just stay in a hotel down there. We'll see.
I know a lot of people are doing that. They're doing both. I'm doing the train race up here, I think, the weekend before. So I'm doing train race.
And it's fun.
Yeah. So me, Amber, and Benton are going to do the one in Monroe. And then the next weekend, me and Benton will go down and do Washougal. And then that Monday after Washougal, me and Amber fly out for Hawaii. So
that's awesome.
And then I'll do Hawaii the next weekend. All three this year. It's all three or die.
Yes, you are.
To God. Yeah. I was ready for all three last year, and then all of a sudden, freaking Hurricane Lane. But
it's going to make this year so much sweeter.
It will. So, well, I mean, that was the bad part, too, because there was a couple things, we were going to hike Diamond Head. We wanted to hike Diamond Head and go to the top. I wanted to go up there, but they closed the trail because of the hurricane.
Oh, God, yeah.
So there was a bunch of things. There's a bunch of things that we wanted to do that ended up getting closed because of the hurricane. The only thing that didn't was the catamaran ride, and I got smashed on the catamaran. I was nice and drunk, and then, of course, I was doing the Titanic thing at the front because I was drunk, and standing out all the way. all the way on the front with my leg, like, wrapped around the railing, like, leaned out, like, I'm the king of the world. And Amber and Serena are like, you're going to fall in. I'm like, whatever. I can.
And if I do.
There's turtles.
Yes,
They'll save me.
I had my first experience with rum punch and boats when we went on our cruise in February. I think it was in one of the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas. And we signed up for this, it's the only cruise Brad and I have ever been on. We signed up for this excursion. It's like, oh, we're going to take you on this boat out to go snorkel with turtles. And I was like, sign me up. I don't care what it costs. I'm swimming with turtles. Awesome. Like, it's happening. And so on our way out, they're like, giving us the safety briefing, blah, 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 Coast Guard this and all that. Oh, yeah. And if you see the captain and the crew start jumping over the side with bottles of rum, the boat's going down. Join us. And we're like, wait, there's rum? I didn't realize it was like a booze cruise. I had no idea. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning and they're mixing up batches of rum punch and just like over serving the hell out of everybody. I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Well, so that's what's amazing about this. The catamaran that we go on, we go every year. It's the same one. Me and Amber always picks it. It's called the Mai Tai. And literally they make Mai Tais the whole time we're on this thing.
That's amazing.
So, of course, Amber and Serena are still hungover from the day before because two people, apparently, they can't hang with me. So I'm drinking their Mai Tais and my Mai Tais and like half the boat's Mai Tais. So yeah, it was awesome.
It wasn't the next day, but it was like the next port of call we went to. I had a water bottle because it's like we're in the Caribbean. I am not a Caribbean kind of girl. Like I was hot and sweaty and I'm chugging my water, and I finished my water bottle. I was like, oh, well, there's a big old 5-gallon drum thing of it's got to be water. And so I start filling up my water bottle, and I'm just like talking to other people on the boat, whatever. I'm filling up my water bottle. I look down, like, that's pink. Oh, that ain't water. 32-ounce water bottle full of rum punch. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a
yeah. That's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a fun day.
So that was what was the fun, like, in Hawaii was last year. We went on a day, pretty much just, we found every bar we could, walked around and drank for a day.
Yeah.
And that was the same day that we had, Spartan had their little party, where we all went and they gave us free drinks and gave us trifecta passes.
Yeah.
So we're like, cool. So we get there, and you don't realize how many Spartans don't drink until you go to a bar where they're giving out free drinks to all the Spartan racers. I had to have a stack of like 20 of these drinks in my hand.
Oh, my God.
So, of course, I'm a good drinker, but I can't drink that many. So we're sitting there, and me, Amber, and Serena are drinking, having our fun. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, they're closing down the bar, so let's go to, I think it was the Maui Brewing Company, because we'd met this guy named Nate, who's really cool.
That place is good.
We're like, let's go over here to the Maui Brewing Company. So we go over there, and Amber and Serena are like, I can't drink anymore. And I'm the one driving. And they're like, I can't drink anymore. And I'm like, I'll get another Mai Tai. I'm good. Let's keep going. So, yeah, they can't hang with me. So we learned really quick. Yeah. Yeah, the hotel was only like a couple blocks away. I think we ended up like walking back, but it was one of those. Yeah, they can't. We figured out really quickly that Amber and Serena cannot hang with me when it comes to drinking. So yeah,
you know about like all the beer tickets that Chris and I have, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And you usually have beer like in a freaking mug with you too. So
if it's a local race, yes, I'm bringing some good beer. Now that they're not doing Coors Light at every single race, I'm not like traveling with my growler as much, but yeah. So they had 805 Brewing Company 805 in Monterey this last weekend, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what the free beer is. It's actually decent beer, and so everybody's like, we're doing whatever, and then a couple more, and it's like, oh wait, I've got like 4 hours to kill. Oh yeah, we had a good time. And I was like, I'm not going to get completely smashed. I did that one time in our first time getting a double trifecta in Sacramento. We made it rain beer tickets there, and we had a growler of beer. And Chris and I just like, I kind of think we made a lot of friends in the beer tent, but I don't really remember. I had trouble walking back to the car. Like, that's how bad it got. Not going to do that again. Flying home hungover was not fun.
Why not? Flying home
drunk? Fine. Hungover? No, thank you. Every little bump was like, oh, mommy.
That makes it fun.
I was flying Southwest.
And that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing like we figured out with Hawaii was trying to figure out like the planning of it. Of the first year, I landed, raced the next day. Worst planning ever because I was not acclimated to that humidity at all.
Nope.
The next year, we went in. We were there for a week. Then I raced, and then we flew out Monday. So I was acclimated to the weather. But now I'm on a plane after trying to do two races doing two races that weekend, a Beast and a Sprint, or Beast and a Super. And now the next day, I'm sitting on a plane for 7 hours. My legs hated it.
Terrible.
So that's why this year it's like, yeah. See, last year we were going to do it was like Wednesday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was going to be, like 2 days to acclimate, race, and then a couple of days after to have some fun. This year we're like, no, we're going for 2 weeks. This time we're making a real vacation out of it.
Well, that's such a good idea, too. I mean, because you both love, why not stay and make it a real vacation?
And that's just it.
So,
I mean, we did it the first year we did Vegas, where we literally like flew down Friday. I raced Saturday, and literally as soon as I finished racing, we drove straight back to the hotel, took a shower, and had to go straight to the airport and flew home. We were there less than 24 hours.
Shoot.
And it's like, and after that race, we're like, what's the point? We flew all the way down here so that I could race to fly right back. It's like, ever since then, we've always tried to make a vacation out of it. That's usually like when I go to Vegas now, we'll fly in Friday, I'll race Saturday and Sunday, and then we usually don't fly back till Tuesday or Wednesday so that we can have some fun.
Then too.
Yeah, it's cheaper tickets, but then at the same time, we can also, we can enjoy our time down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, like, I barely traveled as a kid. Like, the furthest we ever traveled was we went to Disneyland one time when I was, like, in third grade. And so I traveled nowhere as a kid. Wait, no, I kid you. I went to Boston for my uncle's wedding when I was 20. So traveling now is amazing. I was like, let's go here. That sounds like fun. Let's go there. And it's like, people are like, how do you do that? And I was like, I traveled cheap. I shopped the Southwest flight. I split rooms and everything with friends. Like, I traveled cheap, but oh my gosh, I have fun.
Well, that's it. Amber has, like, come up with this way. I don't know. She has this, like, way about traveling where she can figure out how to travel and have fun and enjoy it and do everything for, like, the cheapest price.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's amazing.
So in our little race family, I'm the one that finds the best food. I always find, like, the killer food spots. We almost bankrupted a sushi restaurant in Monterey. Like, the lady laughed at us. We were ordering so much she had to start another sheet of paper.
Nice.
Pretty awesome. And then Nacho always finds, like, cheap hotel rooms. So he finds, like, there's this crazy rewards. He gets, like, upgrades on the car and 40% off a hotel room. And the entire weekend in Monterey, food and everything costs less than $300. Flight, food, like, all of it. It's like, hell yeah. Well, I think maybe the flight costs, like, $120, $130.
Yeah.
But seriously, like...
Well, that's like Hawaii. I think where Amber's figured out the flights for the both of us, less than $700 round trip.
Yeah.
We get her mom, because right now she's the good daughter, because her sister's even more messed up.
No way.
She's the good daughter. Oh, yeah, her sister had some fun. So she's the good daughter, so her mom gives her their condo. They have one of those, like, timeshares for the 2 weeks, so we're not paying for anywhere to stay.
Nice.
So, and then she does really good at, like, figuring out how to get, like, a rental car for a cheap price. So we end up, and I mean, that's one thing, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you must be spending so much money. It's like, no, Amber's figured out how to do this in such a cheap way that's how we're able to afford this last, like, 4 years is because it's this vacation for the two of us, besides not counting what we're going to spend while we're there, like, food and stuff like that, we're less than $1,000 for the two of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I mean, if it wasn't for her ability to, like, figure out the travel so cheap, we'd never be able to do this.
And that's what last year, Big Bear, the very last race of last year, I got a free flight. No, was it Big Bear? I don't remember. Anyway, free flight because of all the times I've flown on Southwest. I found a flight that, like, was 8,000 points, and I had, like, 8,200 points. And so I got a free flight on Southwest. Used all of my Best Western rewards because we stay at the Best Western all the time when we go places because it's decent and cheap. And got a free hotel across the street from Disneyland. And so Christian and all we had to pay for was our Disneyland pass. But she's a season pass holder, and so I got a discount on my pass too. I was like, yeah, pretty much we didn't spend anything, and continental breakfast at the hotel. Yeah, let's go to Disneyland for free for a day. So,
See, and I want to go there. I have not been to Disneyland since I was 15.
Oh, it's fun.
Well, see, and I used to go because my grandmother lives in Lakewood.
Okay.
If you know where that is. Lakewood, California. It's right out of Anaheim.
Okay,
and
sure. Okay.
So and my grandfather lived down there until he died. But we'd go down there and visit them every couple of years and then go to the Disneyland. Then he died, and we kind of go see Grandma occasionally. But, yeah, I actually just popped up on my memories that apparently I went and saw Grandma. The last time I saw Grandma was 4 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago when I was down there for work. But so my grandma's Filipino.
You don't visit
too,
Grandma
so
enough. You need to take the family to go visit Grandma and go to Disneyland. Take the family.
We try and get Grandma to come up here, but Grandma doesn't want to fly, so to see everybody.
Okay.
But
how old is Grandma?
Let's see. She's 70. She's 10 years younger than my dad, so 73.
How the hell does that work?
Because Grandpa was a stud.
Oh, got it.
She's obviously my step grandma, but
that makes sense now.
Well, I mean, do I look Filipino? But yeah. No, she's amazing. I mean, she's amazing. But it's trying to get everyone down there. We usually someone in the family goes down and visits her like once a year. So it's just getting her to. We've been trying to get her to come up here and see everybody, but you know how it is.
Yeah, it's harder the older you get. Like, it's harder. I sat next to the oldest woman on the plane coming back from Monterey. She was tiny. She was frail. She was doing crossword puzzles with her gnarled little hands. And, like, it was so hard for her because she was on the aisle. And if anybody had to get up, like, it took her a solid 2 minutes to stand up. And then she, like, had to hold on to things to stand up in the aisle. And I was like, let's not get some turbulence right now. Like, it gets hard the older you get, I guess.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it was so funny because she was trying to stand up, and I was like, "Would you like me to grab your bag? Would you like me to piggyback you? Like, can I help? Please?
Can I just pick you up and carry you?
You've got to weigh like 25 pounds. Like, come on."
Yeah, I can bench press like 5 of you.
Hey, she's just a baby deadlift. Just a baby deadlift.
Just a baby deadlift. Wow. Oh, but we should probably wrap this up because we've been going for a while. So
that's what she said.
No, it's not. That's the problem. But
that's what you wish she said.
Exactly. Normally, I try to keep about an hour-long episode. I think we're almost an hour and 45. So.
Yeah, you know, chit-chatteroonies.
You know, whatever.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly. So, in closing, what would you like to tell the listeners? What tidbits of wisdom would you like to let them know about, like, being able to do all this? I mean, we've talked about a random myriad of so many different things, but what would you say, like, if someone was to come to you and say, I can't do it, what would be your wisdom? What would you tell them?
Am I allowed to swear?
You've already sworn like 6 times.
Oh, good.
Now
bullshit.
you ask?
Yeah, well, you know. I just be like, bullshit. Says who? Seriously. Who says you can't do it? Yeah. Bullshit. Come on. Let me try.
Exactly.
I did my first Spartan race on a dare, for crying out loud. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I did it with a fractured spine to boot. So just don't tell yourself you can't. I mean, just try. Why not? I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, besides the mobility of your ankles and other joints and stuff like that. But life is too short not to have fun. Life is too short not to have adventures. You're not going to remember, like, oh, that episode of whatever show I was watching was so amazing. I'm so glad I watched that. I'd much rather be out having a good time. So live your life.
Yeah.
You don't know how much you got? Live it. Have fun. And if you don't think you can do it, find somebody that believes in you and do it.
Yeah. And the one thing I've always told people, if you tell yourself you can't do it, you're right. Because you've just made yourself so you can't.
So one of my favorite quotes was actually Henry Ford. Tell yourself you can or tell yourself you can't. Either way, you're going to be right.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I tell a lot of people, like when I did my first marathon in 2017, I posted it and I'm like, this goes out to all the fatties like me, is I had so many people tell me before I did this race, you should not be doing this. You were not ready for this. You should not be doing this. You have not trained. You need to not do this. And I'm like, were they right? Probably. But I did it anyway. I said, whatever, you may be right, but I'm going for this anyway. And I did it. It may have taken me 9 hours, but I did that marathon.
Yeah.
And I beat every single person who did not get up and start that morning.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter what you talk, as long as you get up and try. You beat everybody that's still sitting on the couch.
And when I did my first Beast in Montana, I posted that I was going to do it, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And one of my friends from the East Coast who had done a few Spartan races before, not the one that dared me into it, but she'd done a few, and she's like, oh my God, good luck. The beasts are a bitch. Yeah. Like, this is like, you're crazy. I like, you're gonna die. I was like, wow, thanks for being supportive. And so I kept thinking during that race, I was like, I cannot wait to tag her in the post that says, this is my medal, you bitch. Like, I cannot wait to tag her in that post. And I was like, I'm going to do this because somebody thought I couldn't. I do a lot of things in life because people say I can't. I like proving people wrong.
I'm the same way. Yeah. I mean, and now you have that exact same weird Montana medal that nobody else has. That
I
weird.
Have 2 of them.
How'd you get 2?
So the year before, my first Spartan race ever was a sprint. It was a founder's sprint. And that's why I did the double trifecta in 2015, because I was so pissed I didn't get a green medal. I already had the weird little black one with the spears on it from the year before, and I wanted my green beast medal, and I got this weird little black one again with the spears on. I was like, damn it, I want a green medal. And that's how I met Krisha and a couple other people in Montana, and they're like, well, we're going to go to Tahoe. And I was like, can I go with you? Next thing you know, I'm doing a double trifecta just so I can get my stupid little green medal.
See, I did not get a green medal until 2006. The only beast I did was in 15 was Montana, and that was not the green medal.
Yeah, because there wasn't a beast out here. There wasn't one out here in 15.
No, because in 15 I did Montana. Montana was my first race, and then I'm like, well, I earned 2 free ones because I did. Me and Amber both volunteered before Montana, so I'm like, well, I'll do Washougal, and then we'll figure out what another one would be, and then all of a sudden they announced Seattle, and I'm like, oh, they're going to do a super in Seattle. Which a lot of people don't realize. The first time they did this super was in October, and it was a super in Seattle in October.
It was so freaking easy. That's how I talked Christian into coming up in April.
And that's how I got exactly. That's how I had a niece, my niece. I talked her into doing a super in Seattle because I was like, oh my gosh, I did the super in Seattle in October. It was the easiest race ever. You should do the one with me in April. She's like, oh, that sounds great. And then it was like 10 times as hard as the one in October. And I'm like, oh, I'm not sorry, really.
I did the one in October, and I was telling Krisha how much fun it was, and then they announced they're going to do it in April. I was like, oh my God, you have to come up. It was so beautiful. You'd love it. And it was that hill, the hill that they closed down after us. Like, people were falling off the hill, and like, it was ridiculous. That hill was absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
But
my niece,
I was like,
my niece has never done
I looked at her at the end. I looked at her again at the end. I was like, do you hate me? Do you never want to race with me again? Do you hate me? I'm sorry. I thought it was going to be better.
That was the one and only Spartan my niece ever did.
She'll never think of it. She'll never do it again. That was not a good introduction.
She wants to, but she keeps saying, "Oh, I'll do another one." And no, so that was the one and only one she did. She did that super with me in April, and she's like, "No." And April 2006. Nope. I don't want to do this anymore. Nope.
Can you blame her?
No, not really. That April one was worse. That was worse than any of them. Because I did the hurricane heat the night before.
Oh,
that's super.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, you were there for the bucket carry, right? That was the 4
No, I did the hurricane heat in October. No, I did the hurricane heat in October for the super. I didn't do it in April because Krisha and Nacho were up here and staying with me.
Yeah, see, I did the one in October with you, and then did it again in April. And that's the last one I ever did. I'm like, yeah, nope, this isn't my thing. So.
No.
You guys like your hurricane heat? That's cool. That's it for me. I'm good. I got my dog tags and I'm fine.
Yeah, I'd rather cheer for people than break them down.
Yeah. Right on. All right. Well, we should probably wrap this up because it's a long episode. So, but I like long episodes. It's fun.
Not sorry, people. If you're still listening, tough bunnies.
They are.
You can thank me on the next course.
Oh, I will. Trust me.
Oh, I know. Washougal is going to be, make sure to wear padded gloves because my ass is going to break your hand if you don't. Just saying.
I'm not even going to comment on that. I'm not going to comment.
I broke Mike.
I played the fifth. Want to be the first time?
Brad doesn't care.
Yeah, you want to be the first time.
Anyway, have a great night. I will talk with you later. Kick ass this weekend and have fun. That's all that matters. Kick ass and have fun.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a blast, so we're going to have some fun.
Of course it will.
All right.
Because you're doing it. Of course it will.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun.
All right.
So, all right. I will talk to you later. And thank you.
You're always welcome. Have a good night, man.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast, brought to you by Beast OCR. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear. You can find us on Facebook or at beastocr.com.